growing our confidence to express it creatively and share it with others. So that's what I'm doing, and hoping that that inspires you to do the same. I love to repeat this important mission statement of what I'm doing, which is any emotion we express stimulates our immune system. So literally by journaling, painting, dancing, singing, costume, wardrobe design, jewelry making, we're expressing ourselves, we're expressing emotions, and we're stimulating our immune system. We're also, the more we create instead of just consume, the lighter we're walking on the earth, the better it is for us, our budget, the more economical, the more ecological, the better for the planet. So that's what it's all about. So today is a very special day. One, it's the day after Mother's Day. Every person on this planet came through a woman to get here. The fortunate among us had nurturing, lovely mothers. Some of us have to find that somewhere else in life because our mother passed or was ill or incapable of being nurturing. I was blessed with a extremely nurturing, supportive, kind artist mother who taught me so much about accept yourself, find what you enjoy. I like to say, do what you love and give it to the world. So that's what I'm hoping to share, what she shared with me, with you. Today is a very special one of these virtual visits because it's the last two stories will be shared while I'm painting a pre-recorded audio I did. And then we're going to move on to celebrating that the 18 flowers are out as stencils for my Patreon members. All 18 are no extra cost for the members with their $5 a month membership fee. Anyone else can buy them, I think $3 a piece on the internet, anyone you'd like, but it's quite a deal to get all 18 for $5 a month. And I'm going to keep bringing out stencils. I've done 300 designs, so they're going to keep coming. Next will be my series of 26 warblers and wildflowers. I try every live stream to wear an outfit I did with stencils. This has dragonflies and little flowers. There's the outfit I'm wearing. The scarf I tied around my waist, and there it is. I finished it with the dragonflies, and so there we have the outfit, and we can show the jewelry. I love to make anything I want to have in my life. It's an opportunity to enjoy stepping into the creative flow, which medically documented, scientifically proven, helps increase our happiness anytime we step into the flow. So jewelry, clothes, florals, furniture, I love to try it all. And so here at the Emerald Lady, we have lots of examples, and we have other videos out there showing tours of the Emerald Lady that my son, Bodhi, the movie maker, the technical end of this Mother-Son Productions, he named us. He asked me to work with him. I'm so very, very grateful. And we're going to, Thursday, the next live stream is going to be a celebration of completing the audiobook and completing the 18 SVG floral stencil designs by having what I'm calling beauty on a budget. And I'm going to have 60 different outfits I've done with the stencils and show you a way to turn a stained piece of clothing into art to wear, a used store clothing. It's all budget. None of them are the full price. Some of them donated, some of them hand-me-downs, some of them from used stores, as I said, but all of them were very economical, which is ecological. And instead of putting something in the landfill, let's cover that stain with some art. I heard the Tibetan bell.
Yes, on YouTube, you got some comments. Congrats on 590 subscribers.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's very heartwarming. Thank you very much. It is very heartwarming. And there's the bell again.
Joni B on YouTube. Wow, you look beautiful in this outfit. Heart, eyes emoji. The scarf is so ornate.
Thank you. Yes, it's my normal style is kind of minimalist. I like very simple essence, but I got really I got into it with the scarf, and it didn't feel done until I did the dragonflies on it, and it was too big to wear for painting, so I tied it around my waist, which is another thing you can do with a scarf. So thank you very much, Joni. It's always wonderful to know you're here. And these do feel like virtual visits, and another way we can be good to the environment by connecting this way without having to drive or fly. We can connect virtually, and it is a wonderful feeling to know that these live streams go up on my YouTube channel, and anyone, anytime in the future can access them and hopefully get some ideas, some inspiration, some information on how to use their creativity to enhance their life and heal themselves, and just for the fun of it. So I think we are ready to begin a story. And oh, I'm going to say one thing before we get started so I don't forget. At the Thursday is going to be the Beauty on a Budget, 60 outfits I've done with the stenciling to show you all kinds of ideas to celebrate getting the first 18 SVGs out there on my Patreon, and available for anybody. And then next Monday, we're going to start what I am going to continue for 52 episodes. So when it's done with 1 hour a week, we can, in a year, have a full spectrum multimedia creative experience that I guarantee will, for those who do it, who give themselves permission to put that 1 hour a week in, to access their imaginations and increase their confidence to express it creatively and share it. I guarantee they'll find some inspiration that they'd forgotten, maybe didn't know was there, but definitely will get encouraged. Our first in the Fear-Free Creativity, our superpower series, will be choosing a journal. I like to call it a captain's log, because it will be a record of our artistic adventure, and we will do visual, word, movement, and sound, but we will keep a record. And here's a big journal, here's a medium, but there's also, all the way down to tiny, whatever works for you. And what we're going to do in the first of these episodes is we're going to either use stencils or painting or fabric covered. I covered it with fabric and then painted it, or some Chinese. These are all journals from my past. And so I got them out to show different ways we can appoint our journals. So it's our first creative adventure. This one has a little hole in it for the pen or pencil. So here's another painted one. So I'll show these up close, and I just want to give people notice so that they can select a journal. Here's a really simple, really old one. It was an invitation to one of my exhibitions. I just put tape over it. So we could do decoupage. There's so many different ways we could make our captain's log our own to record this artistic adventure we're going on. So that will start next Monday. And I wanted to give people notice. We put some links up to some journals, and there's also just paper. Let's see where I have that. So here's just plain old folders. So whatever works for you. Here's a plain old folder I'm going to paint with typing paper. Probably the most inexpensive way to do this. And I'm going to make this folder something that expresses my creativity. Here are some other ideas in that. So there's typing paper, folder, there's books, there's journals. We can cover with paper or fabric and paint them or stencil them or decoupage them. So we get to choose which way we want to go. Here's stencils that are folded into this piece of paper. One year I made stationery with stencils. So that's another idea. First, you want to think about the size. I like bigger for this. I like the big journal, but either of these would be my recommendation for size, so we have more room to experiment. It's all about exploring our own imagination, and having room to experiment and play is good and important. But typing paper is great, and smaller journals, if you prefer having a more discreet, easy to put in your bag, easy to take with you, it's all up to you. But I wanted to give notice. So that's going to start on Monday, and Thursday we celebrate completing, which is something I highly recommend when we set out to do a project like get these first 18 flowers out as SVGs. We have a celebration. So Thursday will be a celebration exhibition of beauty on a budget. So I think we're ready to start the story in the painting.
Alrighty, I will start the story and then come and reposition the camera.
Great.
Here we go.
'51, In Search of True Beauty. I've lived in more than 35 different places, including a tent, a teepee, out of my tiny Renault Dauphine car, and in an abandoned building. Someone who heard a story I told about a time when I had no home said, "You were homeless." I had never thought of myself that way because I've always been kind and helpful, so I had people offer me shelter when I needed it. But when my longest relationship dissolved, no one really understood my need because I'd lived in a huge house with big views for nearly 2 decades. I'm grateful for every step of the journey that got me to safety and serenity. I believe appreciation is a great gift we can give ourselves. I went from broken by the betrayals of trust to human kintsugi, the Japanese art form of putting objects back together with golden joinery better than before. The process of putting ourselves back together is about turning broken into beautiful. My healed wounds became my story, and sharing them gives the pain a higher purpose. Bodhi told me that he went from feeling the loss of the only home he knew to feeling at home everywhere. As we set out to turn our adversity into advantage, we felt fortunate to have each other, someone who understood what we went through and the effort it takes to come out the other side. There were painful things that had to be discussed to come to understand them on the way to forgiveness and letting them go. 22-year-old Bodhi and I took only what we needed: food, clothes, art tools, and a spirit of adventure, and left everything unessential behind, especially the disappointment. Lightness began replacing heaviness as soon as we left the big house of hurt. Setting out into the unknown of our future unfolding was scary and exhilarating. Knowing we needed time to heal, we decided to take 4 seasons as nomads before we chose where to settle. We named our rolling 25-foot-long home the Reasoned Manor, so we could relocate in a reasoned manner. Instead of lamenting we did not have a home, we turned it into an opportunity to explore the country and heal ourselves. Many people said we were living their dream. We set out to transform the nightmare siege of the sanctuary into a lovely dream, and so we did. Facing our fear of the unknown, strangers, and discomfort was invigorating and empowering. Reconnecting with friends and 40 relatives was replenishing. Meeting people who cared about others and the environment, like the conservationists, was reassuring. Following the migrating cranes across the country was inspiring. Searching for true beauty was a journey to quiet our minds that had been in a defensive mode for way too long. I choose to find a positive purpose in every negative feeling. Disappointment is hard, but it taught me that not everyone can be trusted. But I can come through hard times stronger with more understanding. Even in places I have never been before, I can be safe by staying aware of my surroundings. Simply quietly moving away from dubious people without calling attention to me or Bodhi kept us from having any traumatic events in a year at different locations. We had the essentials with us, so we did not have to stop anywhere we did not feel safe. We did not eat fast food once that year. We did eat at Chinese buffets, but avoided the sushi when we were far from the ocean. Often driving all day, we would search the web for an RV park we could reach before dusk so we could survey our surroundings while it was still light. Bodhi always hooked up the utilities while I stayed inside preparing a meal. I have learned over the years that I can be a magnet for opportunists. We agreed it was best if no one knew who else was in the RV as a precaution. Once when I was wondering why I've had so many dubious people drawn to me and thinking I might be doing something to attract them, 7-year-old Bodhi said, "Mom, you attract everyone because you are nice. So of course you attract bad guys too." Everyone prefers nice people, even predators. We all give off vibes. We cannot have animals, children, and innocent people trust us without also giving off the impression that we could be an easy mark. I do not want to go around projecting toughness, so I take precautions instead. To counteract my magnetism that attracts narcissists, I learn to give a little and see what comes back before giving more. To stay safe, I project confidence, like I know where I am going. I befriend safe people, so I have backup just in case. Opportunists, predators, and psychopaths look for easy prey, like lions look for those at the edge of the herd. Being a friendly recluse, I've learned to move into the middle when I am in potentially dangerous situations. I talk to people so they can come to know me, care about me, and warn me if there is something I need to be aware of. To increase the serenity and productivity in my life, I had to accept that I used to be kind to a fault, giving to everyone in need. I thought that was kindness. Then I realized that the takers rush up front and take everything they can and do not share it with others. So I changed my prime directive to give to the givers and invite the takers to take leave so the givers can give it up. In my immaturity, I thought spiritual meant giving to everyone. Now I understand that if I give to those who give to others, kindness keeps expanding. The kick-ass kindness comes out if innocence is threatened, like a taser of truth. My older nephew described me as double tough. I asked, "What is that?" Tough defends itself. Double tough defends others. Truth can be the most powerful weapon. Being honest with self first, then sharing what needs to be spoken, can be a sword of truth, cutting through falseness, revealing what needs to be seen. I was drained by our sanctuary being under siege for so long, with no one but our son standing up for me, in a system that does not respect me, but I was not broken. I knew I needed to be reminded there are good, kind, humble people in this world, and I needed to find them and be with them. My fear of not having a stationary home was replaced by the excitement of discovery. Giving ourselves the gift of being fully awake by getting plenty of regular rest along the way was key to staying safe. Discovering true beauty is a curious mind and an open heart, sharing the joy of doing our artwork along the way with a world in need of it. Nature recharged us with deserts, plains, mountains, villages, lakes, and coasts. Our journey refilled our wells of inspiration. The adventure to find our place in the world meant asking ourselves, what is true beauty? We agreed it would be a place where people value one another and treat each other and the environment with respect, where people collaborate to do positive work, a place where we could do our creative work and share it with a community that appreciates it. Somewhere we can flourish and give our best to the world. Many wonderful times on our journey were quiet moments, taking in the slowly changing landscapes. Along the miles of meandering roads without specific destinations or deadlines, our conversations were given the openness to flow naturally. We spoke about our dreams and curiosities, pondering how to channel our passions into work that others will appreciate while being good for the world became our recurring theme. Committing to writing this collection of stories happened somewhere along the way, from one side of the country to the other. Hearing I was living many people's dream made me wonder how we transformed our nightmare into our dream. It was a relief to move away from the city voted snobbiest in the nation. I did not imagine Bodhi and I would be leaving together when he was young, but by the time I finally got my settlement so I could go, he was 21, and I was delighted he wanted to go on this healing adventure with me. There is more of the type of abuse I endured in that county than any other, so leaving it behind was wonderful. The solitary confinement during the sanctuary under siege years, in contrast to the wide open space during our trip, was profound. The big spaces between thoughts let huge feelings surface and float away. Visiting the varied communities of this nation was enlightening. We experienced how connected we all are, with much more in common than different. Easily finding kind people wherever we went was restorative after the elitist community of selfish show-offs we left behind. It was reassuring to find good folks wherever we went. I became thankful Bodhi's father broke all his promises and we were forced to move because we could experience the generosity of strangers, which helped us forget the years of dealing with real estate brokers, lawyers, judges, and developers. We met sweet people everywhere we went. All the different places had things in common. People are generally kind-hearted, curious, and generous. From the cowboy town, Medora, North Dakota, to bike rides in Yellowstone, hikes in Mammoth, the Pirate Festival in St. Augustine, Florida, dinner at the Wayside Inn in Sudbury, Massachusetts, driving through the Grand Tetons and all the little towns in between. It was dawn on the rim of the Grand Canyon when the magnificence filled me with true beauty. The grandeur of the natural loveliness humbled me. My heart was overflowing with the mystery of our unlikely world in this vast universe. In the presence of such splendor, my human struggles dissolved. Witnessing how the great rock walls were cut by patient water reduced me to my essence. I felt an understanding that the constant water of kindness can cut through the hardest rock of remorse. I would no longer be diminished by anyone. After 4 seasons rolling 20,000 miles through 40 states, my adult son and I chose a little big city on the north shore of Lake Superior to make our home. This is where I feel I should be, and we are both flourishing here. I have no regrets about the path to get here, only gratitude we are here. 52 weeks of wandering the country, meeting marvelous people, taking in the varied terrain to choose where to settle. I said, we both have to select where to make our new home. Duluth is my first choice, but you have to choose it too, so you will not be mad at me during the long, cold winter. After our second visit, he said, you were not exaggerating. I thought you were romanticizing, but people are as kind here as you said they were. My time as a wandering nomad settled in that moment as my joy returned, and I saw true beauty all around me. Well, I did my first mess up on my scarf here because the red paint did a little drag through, so I'm going to stop and clean it up. It reminds me of when Bodhi was a little boy. I heard him say to someone, in a very sweet, bragging tone, my mom can get a stain out of anything. Well, if I can't get this stain out, I'll just have to put some stencil over it. But one of the
Let me know if you need me to grab something.
um, I yeah. Well, if there are any comments, I could address them while I'm doing this. So the number one stain remover is water. But I'm seeing that the red keeps spreading. So I could use a little help for a second here, which would be take this and wipe the red off of that.
Here we are. We're
This is Mother Son Productions.
springing into action.
Okay, so now pick that up and put this at kind of in the middle. There we go. Now the next thing you could,
Barely there. Those are quite pink though.
yes, one of the things I do while working is always have paper towels close by. So the only other thing, I think I'm good. So if there's a comment, I'll address it.
There's some comments, and I saw Sumner put a comment on YouTube, so I'll go read them to you.
So this is not fake reality TV. This is real reality. Because here I am trying to fix my mistake. Okay.
All right. So Sumner said, "Nature is the true healer. Wonderful testimonial."
Thank you, and so true. And it's something we all can avail ourselves of, and it's really good. My art has always been because I want to pay respect to nature that has offered me such sanctuary, hope, and solace, and be its champion. We all understand now, or at least hopefully we all understand now, that we are connected, and living in harmony with nature requires that we pay attention. We don't just keep taking and keep putting things into nature. So hopefully my work inspires us to live in greater harmony with nature. That's its intention of sharing it. I do it because it gives me peace. I share it because I hope to increase that peace between all of us and the harmony with nature, that we all, it's our only home, and let us treasure it and take good care of it. Okay?
And then we've got some questions.
Yes.
From YouTube. Your stories all start with very compelling hooks. Can you talk about how you write gripping opening line/lines? Thanks.
Well, thank you very much for saying that. Well, first, my process, I never tried to be a writer. I never even thought of myself as a writer. I used my journals, which I showed you a bunch of this morning, as a friend, as self-therapy, as self-reflection, to come to know myself, to process things. So a place I just told my truth. We all need to be heard, to be happy. It was a place I could speak my truth without editing it. So I did that for a really long time, exclusively. And then telling stories, many people asked me to write my stories, saying they would help other people, that they help them. And So I faced my doubt, fear about becoming a writer when I was invited to Alev Coutier's writing workshop. And the first day I read a story I'd written the day before, just let it pour. And Alev said to me, "You have what every writer wants, needs, your own voice." And so finding our own voice is the number one, in my opinion, in writing. Um, and it's not just my opinion. I've heard a lot of really great writers say that. So finding our own voice comes from being authentic, sharing. So then the next step for me when I realized, okay, I can do this, was now what stories shall I tell? And so I selected the theme of the stories in my memoir would be epiphanies, moments that broaden my perspective, uh, experiences where I learned something universal that could help other people. And so then the next step, select those events, is to tell it in as few words as possible, which is what the title is. So, like the title for the story we just heard, In Search of True Beauty, that's what we set out to do, find our true beauty, a place that's truly beautiful with truly beautiful people in it, truly beautiful nature where people treasure and appreciate each other, true beauty. So the next step when I decide this is an event to share is the title is the most distilled version of that story. And your question about starting it with the lines, thank you for saying that, you called a hook, is it says my attempt in the starting the story is to say why it's worth your time to listen to it or read it. In right in the beginning, the promise of what this story has to share with you, and in a way that is true to me, my authentic voice. So I sometimes have to meditate on that. And I always work on a series of things at once. So sometimes the title for this story comes, but then the first few lines for that story comes. And so I go to wherever the insight takes me. And I do my best to enjoy the process and not rush it and don't make time commitments with other people so that I feel rushed during the creative process. So give it the space to flow and go where the insight, the energy, the inspiration is, but just keep it moving. So hopefully that answers that really great question.
It did. Great job. All right.
Almost got the red out here. So is there anything else before the next story?
Yes. Next question. Do you have any tips for how to edit stories? How do you find the most interesting, juicy bits? You kind of covered that, so.
Well, let me say a little more about that. What's necessary for the reader, the listener, to go there with you, wherever you're sharing, whether it's a fiction, nonfiction, history, it doesn't matter, whatever it is you want to share with the audience, what's necessary is the smell, is the sound of the crickets, is the water in the distance trickling on rocks, is what the person that the story's about or people the story's about, their actions, their thoughts, their feelings. what's necessary for the audience in order to be there with you. And then what isn't necessary, the color of their shirt, their pants were a little too tight, whatever is not necessary for the story, I say let it go. And so what's necessary for the audience, the reader, the listener, to be there with you, be there in the writing, and only that. Leave out the unnecessary. There are writers that just, really go on and fill in all kinds of detail, but that works. It's not my style. My style, my authentic voice is to get to it. And in the writing, I really like to distill. That's why I like short stories. Try to say as much as possible in as few words as necessary.
Great. All right, you got it.
It's not everyone's style, and you get to find your own. That's part of the adventure. All right.
I will start the next story whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. So this is the last story in the book, and so here we go. "52. Nomad Comes Home." After 20,000 miles, 40 states, and a year on the road staying in 100 different places, we agreed on a place to make home. Pouring rose, jasmine, and lilac scents into the tiny perfume bottles from my travels was the extraordinary in the ordinary. This unremarkable event is worth remarking because I finally have the space in my life to do something simply because it delights me. The nomadic family I was born into flowed around the United States from the desert to the sea, to the middle of the country, then the Northwest and back to the Southwest. I did what children do, followed my family. Nomads keep moving not necessarily because they wish to, but to survive. They are looking for a safe place like everyone else. At 17, I set out on my own, first to the desert, then the Southwest, then Northwest, then Northeast, searching for sanctuary. During my wanderings, I returned to check on my family, but only my mother ever felt like home. After leaving the place where I raised my family and thought I would live for the rest of my life, my adult son, Bodhi, and I set out to search for where to call home. We rested in nature and restored ourselves, taking in the true beauty all around us. We took video, photographs, wrote, and drew. One day Bodhi said, "We are a good team." I agreed that our different skills and perspectives made a powerful combination. I was delighted to combine our hearts, minds, and creative energies when he asked me to work with him. I said yes, and he named us Mother-Son Productions. On my lifelong journey, I have not given up hope because I focused on my mother's spiritual teachings, my adult son's unwavering support, my godmother Marilee's faith in me, my spiritual mother Josephine's appreciation, my spiritual father Jonathan's advocacy, my mentor Walter's respect, and my designer mentor Madeline's kind acknowledgement. My elder angels still guide and give me strength. We all have angelic people in our lives. Sometimes it is a brief encounter, but that can be enough if we focus on their wisdom and allow it to help us keep moving toward our dreams. My dream has always been creating a safe, serene sanctuary where I can do my best work and offer it to the world. In my 20s, the community here in Duluth said, "You will never go anywhere where you will be more appreciated." And they were right. The community acknowledged my artistic skills and supported me in teaching creativity without any formal training. I got to teach every grade level. The newspaper headline read, "Free Spirit at Home in Duluth," and an article on Christmas Day started with, "Modern-day nomad makes her home in Duluth." Now this community is my hero again, welcoming me back and appreciating the creative energy Bodhi and I bring. Home is now a place where we are celebrated for being ourselves. We are settled where we have the best chance of rising to our luminous potential. It is our obligation to keep searching for that place where we can shine. Duluth is where I discovered the best I have to offer the world: my art, my heart, and my ability as a creativity coach to guide others on the way home to themselves to express and share their creativity. Duluth has given me the space and the inspiration to share my stories that so many have told me help them. Since being here, I have had the peace of mind to write this collection of 52 of my life stories, which Bodhi has been inspired to turn into cinema and has received several grants to adapt into a screenplay. As I watched the director of Catalyst Story Road explain why they chose Duluth as their indie TV festival home, I had a vision of my son making my story into cinema, bringing jobs to the region. This felt so right as a way to repay the community's recognition and kindness toward me. I felt it must happen. Is it coincidence or spiritual synchronicity that Catalyst chose Duluth after my movie-making son and I chose it as our home? This community deserves to benefit, as it is a hero in my story once again, restoring my faith in humanity. What we have accomplished since moving here is evidence of what can happen when we get away from those who hold us back. No one on their deathbed says, "I wish I made more money, owned more property or stuff." Instead, people wish they had not surrendered their dreams. If we forsake our dreams, we can break our own hearts. That is why I say, love those who would sabotage our expansion from a distance. I strive to have no regrets from wondering what might have been. I choose to invest in becoming the person I wish to be. I do not judge the results of following my passion by funds, fame, or anyone else's standards, but by the fulfillment I get from doing it. If my artwork does not repay me monetarily for the time I have invested in it, I still have succeeded because all the time I spent doing it filled me with peace, and I learned while exploring my curiosities. The contemplative time doing art allows us to distill information into wisdom. This requires we have a safe place to manifest our potential. This list of achievements since selecting the North Shore of Lake Superior is proof of it being an environment we can thrive in. We chose a well-built, century-old property that was affordable because of all its deferred maintenance. Then we restored it ourselves and made a video called "Polishing the Emerald Lady," documenting the process. To celebrate, we hosted the Duluth Preservation Alliance's Christmas party, and later we were on their Summer Historic Homes tour with 800 curious visitors. I taught creativity at the University of Minnesota Duluth, University for Seniors, where Bodhi was also asked to do a lecture on filmmaking. Bodhi made a short film about human trafficking, No Hero, in which we played all 4 characters. We did a year-long feature documentary on a local family and shot 4 music videos. Bodhi has written several screenplays. One of his short films, Tall Ships, was selected for the Duluth Superior Film Festival, and he received the Best Director Award at the Duluth 48-Hour Film Project. The Congdon magazine featured us with a cover article. I've held several creativity retreats at the Emerald Lady, the Women's Club, and the Mental Health Court and Drug Rehabilitation Court. Bodhi and I did a program for Woodland Hills Juvenile Justice Services, where I cut stencils of peace in 48 different languages and then made them into floor-to-ceiling banners with the residents. At the Carpellis Museum, I did an exhibition of 52 crane paintings, Sentinels of Serenity, Cranes of the World, and a second exhibition of 26 regional warblers and wildflowers. My art was selected for the Pheasants Forever catalog as their pollinator print of the year. We videoed a collection of 52 of my wardrobe and jewelry designs called One World Woman. We launched a web series called The Creativity Show. More important than all these accomplishments is the gratitude I feel that I did not give up hope before getting here. If I stayed in the mansion with the big views held back by someone else's fear, my growth would be hindered, and all those who might be helped by sharing my story and work would also lose. It would have been selfish to compromise out of fear of discomfort and change. The world needs us not to lose hope, and it needs every sort of person and their unique insights to be whole. Grocery clerks, mail carriers, doctors, artists, philosophers, teachers, and scientists. We are all a necessary part of humanity being healthy. If only the aggressive people run things, the world will not return to balance. When we all add our strengths, skills, and insights, we can recreate harmony. The sensitives need to offer their perspective. Doing art is an act of hope. It is how I get through difficulties, expressing them creatively. My artistic meditations on nature are a way to share the healing power of both art and nature. I believe it is the best I have to give. Through sharing my struggles, I might help others to not lose hope that they can get through theirs. If we do not lose hope, we can become the guardians of our precious world, not its destroyer. If we choose to find the good in everything, including the tough stuff, because it teaches us resilience, strength, and compassion, we rise above it all. We can choose to live a more economical and ecological life and be good for the world. Each of us can waste less and appreciate more. Together we can choose to take no one and nothing for granted. Let us love easily and accept that we are all connected. May we strive to keep learning and be better today than yesterday. Remember, we could be wrong about anything, and being right is less important than being kind. May we keep our minds open and our hearts clear of resentment. I want to live in respect for everyone and everything. Create more and consume less, and share joy. Consciousness can be a source of torment or a reservoir of strength. I want to do something with the consciousness I was given. Embrace the gift of life and find what I have that helps others, no matter how difficult the path. It is not what we believe that matters, it is how we act. Let me live an admirable life. May I rise above my challenges, turning my adversity into advantage, post-traumatic stress into post-traumatic strength, so I can share my best with the world. I am grateful for all the lessons of my father's dark sadness, as well as my mother's loving light and all the grays in between, guiding this nomad home. Wow, thank you for listening. Thank you for inspiring me to write this book, and I'm grateful to myself for finding the courage to do it because people told me it helped them. I really don't think I would have done it if people hadn't told me that and asked me to, and reassured me along the way that I could. So I'm grateful to every one of them who suggested it, encouraged me, and has heard me. And I'm grateful to myself for wanting to help other people enough to face my doubt and fear that I could do it. Yes.
On YouTube, Joni said, I love this community too. I'm so happy that Bodhi and you chose Duluth.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's wonderful. One of my favorite things to quote since we've been here is a young man who said, "We help our neighbors here even if we don't like them." And where we moved from, people didn't help their neighbors even if they liked them. So, yeah, this is where I want to be. Bodhi at 10 said, "Mom, you should move somewhere where you'll fit in. You'll never fit in here." And I said, "Where would I fit in?" And he said, "Well, someplace where people are nice." So that is where we moved. And I'm so glad that it turned out that he wanted to move here with me and asked me to work with him. And we do these supporting each other to do our very different creative expressions. Speaking of which, can you come out and hold up the scarf if there's not another comment so we can show?
I'll just read the last two comments and then, yeah. So
Sure.
MMM on YouTube said, I agree, I'm hooked in the first few seconds of your final story of your book. And then they wrote, congrats on your fantastic book.
Thank you very, very much. Yes, I want people to know that it's going to be worth their time because I'm going to share something real. And anytime we share something that's really us, it's not something people can get anywhere else. So get that corner and we'll hold it up this way. So here's the 18, and I think it's, should we go in front of the table?
Yeah. There you go.
Here's the 18 flowers that are out on Patreon, SVGs, and I think it's perfect that I had that little mess up, and I did what Bodhi bragged about as when he was a little boy. My mom can get a stain out of anything. Water, cold water. It's amazing how healing cold water can be. I just keep blotting and soaking it up and blotting, and then the last little bit of red I got out with a little bit, teeny bit of soap. So there you go. So it's kind of perfect that
you stayed calm. You didn't panic.
Yes. And so this is the celebration day after Mother's Day. And today, the birds on our porch outside our dining room took flight, the three little babies. So the day the book is finished, the audio, and the day that the 18 flowers are celebrated, I noticed these, what I call spiritual synchronicity. I could be giving them importance, but why not? Who does it hurt? So there you go. Well, I want to say that what's Thursday is the Beauty on a Budget, the 60 outfits you're going to see. And then next Monday, we're going to start Fear-Free Creativity, accessing our superpower, our imaginations, and confidence to express our creativity. The book was dedicated to my mother. The 52 episodes for Fear-Free Creativity are going to be dedicated to Bodhi, because he has been here helping me with all of this to reach you, which I couldn't do without him. So thank you. And
My pleasure.
so I think we're a wrap for today. Thank you for being here, and please select some paper, a folder, a journal, something by next Monday, and we'll get going with that. And please tell friends. There's nobody that getting more creative doesn't help, including me. Children are all creative because they give themselves permission to play. And I want to say this, there's no way to do it wrong. I do suggest you don't hurt yourself, anyone else. Try not to waste or spend money you don't have. Use what you do have or what you can afford. And the only thing that I think is sad, there's no wrong way to do these artistic adventures, but I do think it's sad when people let the doubt and criticism that this world is full of stop them. So let's not do that. Let's have fun. That's the whole idea. All right?
Fantastic.
So there we go. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, great job. Congratulations on getting all the way through the book. It was wonderful.
Thank you very, very much. Thanks for all your help, Bodhi, and thanks everybody for being here. And tell a friend. Let's have